Welcome back to Vetted Recap. Today I'm going to explain the movie, Rango. It was released on the 4th of March 2011. Rango is a conventional chameleon, who coincidentally ends up in the town of Dirt, an uncivilized station in the Wild West, needing another sheriff. Toward the rear of a little vehicle, in a little aquarium, dwells a little, anonymous chameleon. The main living animal in his climate, Rango has liked himself as an entertainer, with a few lifeless things as his companions, and individual performers. In his independent world, Rango's companions let him know that despite the fact that he likes himself a legend, he wants a test. The world turns out badly when something in the street makes the vehicle shock, and the chameleon and his aquarium fly out the rear of the vehicle he's in, breaking to the ground. Getting up, the chameleon sees an armadillo in the street, its midriff crushed in by a tire. The animal requests help to get to the opposite side, and the chameleon helps. Not being utilized to the intensity, the chameleon asks the armadillo where he can track down water. The animal lets him know he can find it in soil, a day's excursion away. The chameleon follows his shadow through the desert, however is nearly eaten by a bird of prey. Taking shelter in a tempest channel, the chameleon wakes the following morning to a little surge of water that rapidly vanishes in the sun. Nearby, he goes over a female reptile named Beans. However, at first threatening, Beans gives the chameleon a ride into town. The chameleon endeavors to mix in with local people, and advances toward a close-by cantina. Going in, he excites the doubt of nearly everybody in the bar. A few request to know what his identity is, and subsequent to seeing the word Rango on a container of desert flora squeeze, the chameleon claims that his name is Rango. Rango then, at that point, endeavors to turn a story that causes him to appear to be a legend. At the point when somebody inquires as to whether he killed a few criminals known as the Jenkins brothers, Rango professes to have done it with only one slug. As he talks, several fugitives go into the room, drove by a reptile named Bad Bill. Rango endeavors to act threatening, however rather rouses Bill's wrath, prompting the two having a standoff in the town. Rango believes he's frightened away Bad Bill and his young men when they run away, only to understand the bird of prey he outmaneuvered before is right behind him. Rango then goes going through the town, with the last occasions looking as though Rango was pursuing the falcon, before at last killing him by dropping the town's water tower on it. While some celebrate at the passing of the falcon, a few make notice that with the bird of prey's demise, a bandit by the name of Rattlesnake Jake could get back to town. Nonetheless, Rango nonchalantly makes sense of that he isn't apprehensive, and that he and Jake are siblings. Rango is then brought before the town's mayor, an old turtle who asserts that Rango has given the residents trust. Rango is then made the town sheriff. Presently, Rango watches puzzled as the townsfolk participate in a bizarre custom in which they leave dirt and head towards a nozzle in the desert. The residents look for salvation from the nozzle, yet no water appears. The townsfolk have been hard up for water for quite a while, and after the mayor concedes penances should be made, Beans ventures forward, blaming the mayor for some way or another being behind their water lack. It before long turns out to be certain that the town's bank is additionally short on water, and the stores in the vault just has sufficient water for 5 additional days. Rango endeavors to control the townsfolk's further concerns, by promising to maintain the law. Notwithstanding, he inadvertently botches a few moles hoping to loot the neighborhood bank for miners, and permits them to forge ahead, giving them gear. The following day, expression of the bank burglary spreads. Rango drives an inquiry party through the underground passages that confuse beneath the desert. The gathering then finds an enormous line and follow it out into the desert, where they track down the bank manager Mr. Merrimack, dead. Some distance off, they find the moles with a covered cart with what gives off an impression of being the water container that once sat in the bank. The gathering figures out how to take off with the covered cart, yet not before the moles and the remainder of their underground brethren give pursuit. Be that as it may, during the pursuit, the covered canvas on the container comes unraveled, and the jug is viewed as unfilled. One of the moles that carried the container to his dad claims it was vacant when he tracked down it, however the residents expect the moles grabbed their water. The 3 moles are gotten back to town for a preliminary, yet the now evident absence of water has the remainder of the town stressed. In the interim, Rango has come to think the mayor significantly more. At the point when the mayor finds out about Rango's doubts with respect to him, he sends his men to track down Rattlesnake Jake. Jake has been recounted to the narratives that Rango has referenced, and gets Rango to admit that all that he has said is completely false, including the passing of the Jenkins brothers. Rango then leaves Dirt, shamed. He in the long run advances back to the 2-path roadway. He endeavors to cross it like the armadillo from previously, and figures out how to make it across prior to falling. Oblivious, he is persisted the sandy territory where he experiences the spirit of the West. The spirit gives Rango some more boldness. However, is then helped along by the armadillo, and a few moving desert plants. They arrive at the highest point of a peak, and down beneath, see an enormous city. Close by is a crisis valve that seems to have been cut off. It before long checks out the thing the mayor is arranging. He plans to make the town of Dirt into the huge city underneath. Rango had additionally heard that the mayor had been purchasing up loads of land, however that Beans was one of the last holdouts. Rango then gets back to Dirt with an arrangement. He goes up against the mayor and Rattlesnake Jake, who are endeavoring to constrain Beans into giving up the title to her property. Rango provokes Jake to a duel, and at high noon, the armadillo and the prickly plants open the crisis valve, and water floods all through the town. Notwithstanding, directly following Beans perhaps being killed, Rango gives up, and the 2 are set in the bank's vault, where the mayor endeavors to suffocate them. While this is going on, the mayor's men then, at that point, turn their firearms on Rattlesnake Jake, with the mayor certainly discussing how his sword will before long be ancient history. Rango winds up unintentionally reversing the situation when one slug he has figures out how to break the vault's glass, and the water in the vault cleans everybody out into the roads. Jake recognizes what Rango did, prior to turning on the mayor, hauling him out into the desert as the turtle argues for his life. The residents then commend their recently discovered fortune as the water downpours down around them. Subscribe and thanks for watching.